What happens when celebrity, courtroom chaos, and media influence collide? The answer is unfolding right now in one of the most bizarre legal spectacles Hollywood has seen in years. At the center of it all, Sean "Diddy" Combs, music mogul, fashion icon, and now the focus of a courtroom drama that feels more like a Netflix thriller than a real-life legal proceeding. But this isn't just about Diddy. It's about something bigger. What happens when the courtroom turns into a stage and the lawyers become the cast? And ironically, one of those cast members might just be a podcaster from TMZ. No, seriously, let's rewind. Jury selection had just begun in Diddy's high-stakes trial. Tension was already thick, but then something strange happened. Mark Geragos, celebrity lawyer and co-host of the Two Angry Men podcast, was suddenly dragged into the legal spotlight. Why? Prosecutors claim they spotted him consulting Diddy's defense attorneys right there in court. The catch? Geragos regularly discusses the case on his podcast. That's a serious no-no if he's being seen as part of the defense team. And here's where it gets weird. The prosecution submitted a letter to the judge, pointing out actual statements Geragos made on the podcast. Comments they argue violate the gag order placed on the legal team. So now the question is Mark just a loud media personality, or is he playing both sides? Defense consultant and public commentator. The line is blurry, and that's exactly what has people talking. But this circus act doesn't stop there. Let's talk about the jury itself. Who gets chosen for a case like this? Turns out it's not as straightforward as it should be. One potential juror shared that his son had been beaten by 3 men during college. That sounds like a red flag, right? But when asked if he could be fair, he simply said, "People are people." The court accepted him. No objections. Meanwhile, another juror took a, let's say, creative route to get out of service. She claimed she couldn't sit through the trial due to ongoing stomach problems, frequent bathroom breaks, surgeries, even lingering symptoms from COVID. She listed it all, but when asked if she could sit through a movie, she hesitated, then said yes. The judge saw through it. She was dismissed. This whole jury selection process, it's already a mess, and it might get worse. Observers noted that the defense seemed particularly wary of female jurors, especially those with connections to domestic abuse cases. But when the alleged victim is a man, or if the issue doesn't involve violence against women, they're suddenly fine with it. That kind of selective concern doesn't go unnoticed. And speaking of optics, let's not ignore what the prosecution team looks like. 6 women, all white. The defense, packed with powerful names, and now possibly a podcast host who can't stay out of the headlines. You'd think this was a drama series written for streaming, but it's all happening in real time. But believe it or not, this legal drama is just the beginning. But let's not pretend that courtroom drama lives in a vacuum. In a case already dripping with tension, optics matter just as much as evidence. And nothing screams strategy like the makeup of the prosecution team. 6 women, all white. A detail that didn't just go unnoticed, it was flat out called out on the podcast itself. The term "a six-pack of white women" might sound like satire, but in this case, it came straight from TMZ commentary. Now ask yourself, was this an accidental lineup, or was the prosecution team curated to present a particular image to the public and the jury? Because when you're facing someone like Diddy, whose legal arsenal includes not just a high-powered team of 8 attorneys, but also media connections and cultural influence, every detail becomes a calculated move. He's not just fighting the charges, he's shaping the narrative. But this time, that narrative might be slipping out of his hands. The prosecutors aren't backing down. In fact, they're weaponizing Diddy's own camp's media presence. They're using statements from Geragos' podcast against the defense. The message is clear. If you're going to talk, expect your words to be used in court. And speaking of public drama colliding with real-life danger, across town, Jennifer Aniston found herself in a terrifying situation that feels like a Hollywood horror story. Just days ago, someone rammed their car through the security gate of Aniston's $21 million estate. At first, people assumed it was a medical emergency, but it turns out the man, identified as 48 years old, not 70 as initially thought, might have been targeting her on purpose. Even stranger, he'd been posting about her online. His name matched a Facebook profile full of disturbing references to Aniston dating back to 2024. Police are now investigating the possibility of a stalker situation. This wasn't just an accidental crash. This was something darker. Thankfully, Aniston's security responded in seconds. Guns drawn, emergency protocol kicked in. The man was detained and later arrested for felony vandalism. He's being held without bond. The gate? Barely scratched. But the psychological damage of knowing someone tried to break through your personal fortress, that's not so easily repaired. And here's the scary truth. Even with wealth, privacy, and a fortress of security, celebrities are still vulnerable. Fame doesn't protect you. It paints a target on your back. But while Aniston handled a real-world invasion, the Met Gala was busy being its own brand of surreal. Let's shift to the carpet for a second. This year, the theme was tailoring and modern black style. But what stole the show wasn't the fashion. It was who wasn't there. Kylie Jenner walked alone. Timothée Chalamet, MIA. Turns out he ditched the event to watch the Knicks game on an iPad in a hotel. A red carpet debut for one of Hollywood's most watched couples? Missed. And fans weren't thrilled. Justin Bieber also ghosted the event. While Hailey stunned in solo shots, Justin posted hockey highlights from a luxury theater room in Iceland. He did repost her Met photos, but the message was clear: sports over spotlight. Even Rihanna went solo. Well, kind of. She arrived glowing, showing off baby bump number 3. Yes, she and Adol AP Rocky are expecting again, but he let her walk the carpet alone, giving her the full moment. Strategic? Absolutely. Romantic? Maybe. By now, this isn't just a story about legal chaos or red carpet no-shows. It's about a deeper shift in how celebrities handle power, control, and publicity. As if red carpet walkouts and baby reveals weren't enough, the Met Gala delivered a controversy no one saw coming. And no, it wasn't about a wardrobe malfunction. It was about what Lisa from BLACKPINK wore on her wardrobe. The theme was superfine tailoring, black style. But Lisa's designer took that literally. How literally? Her underwear featured printed images of Rosa Parks. Yes, that Rosa Parks, the civil rights icon. The fashion world was split in seconds. Some said it was bold, others said it was tone-deaf, but everyone agreed it was a risky move. Lisa's team claimed she didn't design the outfit, and that the decision came from the creative director, who, by the way, is black. But the question remains, did Lisa even understand what she was wearing? And that's the point. When fashion crosses into symbolism, ignorance isn't just risky, it's dangerous. Should celebrities be held accountable for what they wear, even if they didn't design it? Or does the blame fall entirely on the stylist? Either way, once the photo hits the internet, nobody reads the label. They see the message. And that brings us to the next storm brewing in celebrity culture: originality or the lack of it. Malia Obama just scored a career milestone, directing a Nike commercial starring WNBA icon Aja Wilson. But what looked like a proud artistic moment quickly spiraled into accusations of plagiarism. Filmmaker Natalie Jasmine Harris says the Nike ad bears striking resemblance to her short film Grace, which debuted at Sundance the same year Malia was in attendance. And the similarities? They're not subtle. The visual style, the pacing, even the emotional tone feel like near replicas. Harris hasn't filed a lawsuit, but she's made her concerns public, saying the ad was inspired a little too heavily by her work. Now, here's the dilemma. Malia Obama already has the last name, the access, the connections. Harris, on the other hand, is an indie filmmaker trying to break through. If her work really was the blueprint for Malia's big-budget project, what message does that send to every unknown artist grinding in the shadows? Some argue it's coincidence. Others call it theft with a smile. Either way, when you're the daughter of a former president, people are watching. And when your work echoes someone else's, expect that echo to turn into a headline. But what's more alarming than the accusation itself is the silence from Nike. No statement, no clarification, no credit. And for a brand that prides itself on spotlighting emerging voices and empowerment, staying quiet might be the loudest choice of all. Meanwhile, the tension between privilege and performance keeps building. Celebrities love to support causes, wave the flag of originality, and champion representation until it requires actual accountability. And the public is waking up to that contradiction. So, whether it's a Rosa Parks print on lingerie or a copied short film turned corporate ad, the question lingers. When does admiration cross the line into appropriation? And just when you think celebrity scandals couldn't get any more real, the skies themselves seem to turn against us. Because the next story doesn't involve gossip or glitter, but actual danger. While celebrities scrambled for attention on the red carpet, chaos unfolded in the skies above New Jersey. At Newark Airport, one of the busiest in the US, air traffic controllers experienced a nightmare scenario. For 90 full seconds, they lost all communication and radar visibility with planes in the air. Let that sink in. No radar, no radio, no idea where any aircraft were positioned in the sky. 5 controllers have since taken trauma leave. This wasn't a simulation. It was a terrifying breach of aviation safety, and it could have easily ended in disaster. United Airlines canceled dozens of flights. The FAA says procedures were followed, but even they admit the system is cracking under pressure. Aging infrastructure, staffing shortages, and increased air traffic are turning once-in-a-century failures into recurring risks. And here's the part that hits hard. This wasn't caused by weather or terrorism. It was system failure. A chilling reminder that while we obsess over celeb gossip, the safety nets around us are fraying. And the people we trust to hold things together, they're overworked, overwhelmed, and too often ignored. Speaking of trust, let's talk about Mike Pence. The former vice president just received the JFK Profile in Courage Award for his actions on January 6th when he certified the 2020 election results despite immense pressure from then-President Donald Trump and a literal mob outside. Some hailed him a hero, others mocked the award, saying he just did his job. But here's the uncomfortable truth. In today's political climate, doing your job can be an act of courage. Pence stood in the gap, knowing his decision could destroy his career and maybe even put his life at risk. And it did. His own party turned on him. He became a pariah. And yet, he did what the Constitution demanded. Now, let's be real. This is the same Mike Pence who stood by Trump for 4 years, the same man who once played the loyal soldier. But in one defining moment, he broke ranks. And that moment is now being celebrated as courageous. The conversation with comedian and commentator D.L. Hewley on TMZ hit a nerve because it exposed a deeper fracture in America, the belief that defending democracy should be ordinary, not award-worthy. But today, we live in a world where courage is rare, honor is politicized, and spin outweighs truth. And that's the thread that ties all of this together. Whether it's Diddy's courtroom circus, Jennifer Aniston's stalker scare, Met Gala drama, alleged plagiarism by Malia Obama, or air traffic systems on the verge of collapse, we're witnessing a culture addicted to distraction while the foundation cracks beneath our feet. And here's the scariest part. We're so used to the chaos, we barely blink anymore. So next time you hear about a celebrity trial or a viral fashion moment, ask yourself, what are we being distracted from? Because the real story isn't always on the red carpet or even in the courtroom. It's what's happening behind the scenes, the part we're not supposed to notice.